The share link. Can I share this?
And stream. Are you streaming?
Share.
What the Alter Rebbe is saying over here is, he wants to give you a dogma of a mokim, and a mokim goli. A mokim goli means a mokim that you can identify, a mokim that you can define. That mokim can become bottle to a level of existence that is higher than a sasum. And he gives an example from Machshava and Seichel. What's the example of Machshava and Seichel? In Seichel, b'shas a person thinks, and you're thinking on a very conscious level. You're thinking whatever you're thinking is right, clear, is right. You're ready to say. You're ready to say whatever you're thinking. You have a machshava, you have a seichel, you have an idea. You know exactly how you want to present it, and how you want to be masbid. So you're using the oisius that you had in your machshava in your dibur. What's the difference between the oisius and machshava and dibur? It's the same thing. It's just that it's murgish yosef. Because in your seichel, it's oisius that are connected with you, and in your dibur already it comes to someone else. But if the oisius in your machshava that's ready to come out in dibur is oisius that are already galia, it has a tzura, it has a tzir of oisius. You have its take. Okay, but then there is a level of oisius how it exists in seichel. A level of oisius that exists in seichel is really not really yet. You don't really feel the oisius. Let me explain to you what I mean. When you hear a seichel, when you hear a svara, you can hear the svara. You can hear the svara, how the svara is watered down in words. You can hear the energy, the seichel itself. You hear the svara itself. When you hear the svara itself, the inyan itself, you don't feel the oisius. You actually have to then go ahead. You feel the hafshata of the oisius. You don't sense the oisius. I'll give you a little bit of a dogma. I'll give you a dogma. It's a dogma that I think is a fardim, but it's a dogma. Take for example the difference between Einstein and other professors of his time. I forgot the name who it was. Einstein wasn't the greatest mathematician. There were bigger mathematicians. And sometimes Einstein needed to, when he had an idea, he needed to go to a mathematician and help him out with the mathematics. But the difference is that Einstein, he was masig in Indian, not through the mathematics.
Not to what?
Not through the mathematics. It's not the pshat. He saw 2 and 2 is 4, and this meeting and x equals this. And with that, he came to a conclusion. If that's the case, microwave is going to. If that's the case, the sun and the moon and the energy and whatever his theory was. That's not how it worked. He looked at the sun. He looked at the moon. He looked at the stars, and he had a certain feeling, a certain instinct, an intellectual instinct. And now that he had that intellectual instinct, he needed to find ways to be masbid. So he needed to now use the mathematics to explain what he was typhus. He wasn't typhus b'chal oisius. He wasn't b'chal. He didn't see the oisius. What he saw was he had a certain genius way of just tapping into inyanim sichlim and able to have a sense, a sick sense of seichel. And therefore he came to a certain conclusion. And now he needed to find a way to be masbid. So he goes to his friend and tells me, help me. I can't work out the mathematics. Help me. Where other physicists got their physics through the mathematics, he used the mathematics to get to his physics, to explain his physics. What's the pshat? And when he was thinking, he wasn't thinking b'chol oisius. It was no oisius. He saw an inyan. He saw a concept. And now, from that concept, he's trying to now find oisius how to explain it. So b'shas he was seeing it, and the same thing b'atzim is when you're thinking a shvere inyan, in chassidus or in a nigla, and you're thinking about it, you're not thinking in oisius terms. You're thinking in svara terms. And then later, when you feel you have it, sitting in the husband. Now you're going to find the right words to go ahead and explain this concept best. Certainly. So certainly when it comes from an inyan of Maila Lamata, the Maila, there's Isis in the Maila also. But I don't sense the Isis.
He has a desire for food, but he doesn't know what food.
That's right. That's right. Very good. Right. That's right. Very good. He's saying a person can have a desire for something. You don't even know what it is. You have to work it out. So Isis. So what's the pshat? Isis didn't exist over there. Of course they existed, but they were bottled. They were bottled because it was Isis Bichlal is very is Isis is Kalim. Is Kalim that has a lot of energy and a lot of, it's a certain Kalim that carries the Seichel, and it's there, as it says Chassidus, that the Navish Malay Isis. You would think of a svara. How do you get the Isis? Because the Isis is already in your Navish. There's Isis already. There's already abilities to be able to express the Inyan and to define it and bring it down into some kind of definable way. But there, you don't hear the Isis. You don't hear it. But when you go ahead and you break it down, that's the pshat what he's saying over here. That when you have Galia is the Isis HaGloyim. Then you have its bottle. What does it mean it's bottle? It's not there. Of course it's there. But then you don't sense the Mokim as much. Then the Mokim becomes a lot less not just noticeable. It's not taking that much place. King Yebitl Isis Amachshava B'Seichel Gidul V'Bein Mislabish B'Klal. V'Zeu Baruch HaMokim. Ki Baruch Hu Loshen Amshachu. We say Baruch HaMokim. What does it mean Baruch HaMokim? Baruch HaMokim means the Hamshich L'Mayla Min HaMokim L'B'chinas Mokim. Same thing as in a Likus. There's a Likus that's L'Mayla Min HaMokim. And what we ask the Eibishter is to be Mamshich a Likus that's L'Mayla Min HaMokim. That means it's so nichol in the oil. There's so much oil that the oil you can't buchlal. It's the mokim itself. Our 6 ksavis doesn't have a way to grasp it. We ask Hashem to bring it down. Al derech ha'omer bebichas Hashem lahamshich min l'mayla min hazman lebchinas hazman. The same thing as in zman. Just like in mokim you have l'mayla min hamokim and mokim. Same thing as in zman. What Chassidus teaches what zman in Ruchnius? Mayla mata is zman. You have a seichel. You have an idea. If I explain you the idea backwards, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. To be able to relate to an idea, you have to have a certain seder. There's a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3. That's called zman. It's an edelkeit of zman, right? So when you have in your you have an element of zman l'mayla b'sehetzich nishton b'sehetzich on don demvel. We're asking to be mamshichin. V'zeh bar Hashem min ha'olam va'ad ha'olam. That's the pshat we say min ha'olam va'ad ha'olam. What does it mean min ha'olam? You should say Baruch Hashem l'chol olam. What's min ha'olam ad ha'olam? The pshat is, but you have one olam. You have a way it exists in one olam. You have the way it exists in another olam. And the idea is to be mamshich, to bring it down that it can become relatable to me. And then there's our gofen tzemach tzedek in the mokum ruchni. I'm not going to go into that right now because we want to cover some ground here. Let's go back. Let's over here. Let's skip to order. Go v'hine. All right. So now, he goes and he says v'hine